We do know that really gifted and really highly intelligent and highly ambitious and great people are dyslexic, and so it's not something that should come to define you. You should move beyond those linear, myopic ideas about, spelling and all that. What the hell is that anyway? My name is Richard Hogan. I'm a systemically trained family psychotherapist. I work in schools, I lecture in colleges, I write books. I'm a columnist for the Irish Examiner as well. I grew up in a very academic family. My father was a journalist for the Irish Times, and very academic conversations, and I was well able to hold my own there and that kind of stuff. But when it came to actually putting what was in my head on the pen or pencil, let's say in primary school, there was a disconnect between what I was thinking and what I was able to articulate and what I was writing. I tried to get through spelling tests in school and tried to hide it there, and I kind of noticed it early enough. My parents would have noticed it because they were, kind of looking at other brothers who were flying through. And my mom went down and asked, is there something wrong with his spelling? He's not reading as fast as the other lads. And for years, this is the 80s now, it just went unnoticed. And they were like, no, he's fine. It was weird because when I was a kid, I could spell really complicated words and really struggle with very straightforward words. And the sound of words and numbers, so, and a bit of memory as well, stuff like that, remembering someone's name or spelling an Irish name would be just, I couldn't figure out how you even do it. I didn't know what it was. And so you internalize that and you think you mustn't be as bright as everybody else. You mustn't be that clever, just not as bright as people. So you try to hide that. I was in 5th class and I got this teacher, and it was only about a year ago. It's the first time I ever really said it out loud, because I teach English at a very high level. I didn't want to be telling the students, that I struggled as a kid with spelling and all that kind of stuff. I wrote an article about my experience with dyslexia, and I mentioned my teacher, and she wrote to me the next day. I was in my clinic and I had a couple of hours off. I was at lunch and the email came into my phone, and she said, "Oh, Richard, I read your article yesterday. I remember you well. You were this beautiful little boy." And I was just back inside the skin of that 9-year-old. I was bawling, crying in my clinic. What got me is that she said you were a beautiful little boy, because I didn't view myself like that because of dyslexia. I viewed myself as having something wrong, or there's a problem there, or you're not as clever as. We had an exam one day, and she came over and she said I was sitting there with tears in my eyes, whatever. And I said to her, "I can't do it. I'm just stupid. I'm just a bit stupid." And she brought me outside the classroom and she said to me, "You're not stupid. You're actually very bright. And I think you might have a little bit of dyslexia in here. And we should go away and get it tested." And so that's what happened. Then I went off and got it tested, and I came back that I had dyslexia. I'd be at home at a very young age reading T.S. Eliot, and just been poof rock, just blew my head off. And then reading Hamlet and Macbeth and all these things, and reading Sylvia Plath, and I just was obsessed with the written word from a very young age. But when I came to write, I was what the hell? I'd have these ideas in my head, and when I sat down with the pencil, it was like some sort of kryptonite. And it wasn't until I got into college that I got a laptop that all of a sudden it was oh my God almighty, what the hell is this? My thoughts are actually here. It was just there was a synergy between my brain and my fingers. And when I was writing, I was just right there in front of me. Some people lose their voice, but they can sing, and they can't talk when they're registered, but they can sing. And that's what technology was like for me. It just allowed you to kind of express yourself fully. And so technology, I think, is so important for all of this. I had that internalized prejudice around it in my late teens, that it was something that, it was very negative. It was a very destructive thing, and it was a learning disability. I don't see it like that at all. And that's why I always call it the dyslexic voice. And it's you got to get in there and disrupt it. I think getting support around it to help you out of your thoughts about it. Because for a lot of people, it's at last, I've got an idea what that was. I've been hiding that all my life, but now I understand what it was, and I think it's really important that they understand. It's nothing to do with IQ. When you're dyslexic, or you feel that you're not as clever as other people, you create a persona around yourself to shield the fact that you might feel lesser or lower self-esteem or confidence. And I meet that in my clinic a lot. People who aren't diagnosed with dyslexia and who have struggled their whole lives and wondered why their mental health has struggled, and why they've had really issues around self-esteem and their self-image. And in the conversations, it often comes to about academic attainment as a kid and seeing themselves as stupid and having got involved in all sorts of negative behaviours. But being stupid is too profound to to kind of deal with. So you deflect it and you create this mess around you. A label doesn't predict the future, it absolutely writes it. So when you tell a kid that he's not that bright, not that good, you're not bad at English, right? You just haven't met the person yet who's going to actually help you to be able to see what you're capable of just yet. Try to open up a little bit more about it. Don't be so guarded about it. It's nothing to be fearful of. It was something that really, interrupted my progress in life and made me closed. And over the years, like with my daughter, we laugh about it, and I'm intentionally laughing about it, and there's absolutely, on her part, no stigma around it. It's a joke between us. And I think the more we do that about it, the more we take all the power out of the thing. It has no more power in my life. If you look at John Lennon's, report card, and they're saying, he's not going to attain academically, he's not a bright kid, and you're going, well, the guy had dyslexia going through his life. Look at his writing. I mean, it's just incredible. You just don't see him. You're standardizing him, but you don't see him, under standardized tests. Yes, he would be terrible, but have a look at here, Strawberry Fields. Write that there. Why don't you sit down and try to write that there for yourself? And it's like, you can't, because that's genius.